Hey guys, what's up? It's Frank from Altcoin Buzz, and today of course we're seeing blood in the markets. Bitcoin, Ethereum, everything is in the red. So we're going to go over why this is likely happening. We're going to have a look at the key support and resistance levels on the Bitcoin chart, see why we've been falling despite some bullish news recently. We're going to have a look at Ethereum, which is looking unfortunately very bearish now compared to Bitcoin. Of course, all of this relates very closely to the S&P 500, so we have to look at that if we want to think about the bigger picture and why Bitcoin is likely falling. Gold, of course, is very highly correlated with Bitcoin as well, so we'll take a quick look at that chart and then look at some macroeconomic factors for why things are looking a little bit scary for the coming weeks. If you enjoy this content and want to see more of it, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that notification button as it really helps to support the channel. Before I get started, I just want to let you know that I am not a financial advisor and that trading and investing presents financial risks. So starting off here with a quick look at CoinGecko, you can see we've had a 4.3% dump on the whole market. Bitcoin, in fact, is the only one registering green for the last 7 days. So you can see that investors are getting scared. They are selling altcoins, also selling Bitcoin, but not quite as fast, not quite as much. So this is a sign that people are taking a risk off the table. But you know, even Bitcoin has been falling quite heavily over the past 24 hours. So it is starting to get concerning. So starting off with the Bitcoin chart, of course, we can see that we tested this 21 EMA moving average. We failed to hold above it. We have now broken below. And what's particularly concerning about this move down is the power of it, the magnitude of it. So look at this volume over here. You see these two bars here? That means that it's quite explosive volume. It means that the market is sort of panic selling basically. There's a lot of action going on here and the bears unfortunately have won. Now, I brought up this parallel channel in a previous video saying that it would be likely that we will stay within this range. Now, we have found some temporary support, some potential support down at the bottom of this channel, and it's still possible that we hold this $10,000 level and keep on moving up. But certainly it is concerning that we came down so fast and so intensely right down to this support. Now, of course, we resisted from the $11,200 level, and this of course marked the previous major support. So a lot of traders were looking to short that level, probably with stops just above. I myself am one of them. I'm actually currently in a short from the $10,950 level. And you know, honestly, I have no intention of closing it. I think that there is some possibility that we get down to $9,000 levels. I'm already quite heavily invested in crypto. You know, if the market does get to that level, my short may make up for some or even most of the losses that I will have from my portfolio in crypto. So that's why I'm not going to close my short until things look decidedly bullish again, or until we see some more extreme sell-offs again down to this $9,200 level, which is the particular level that I'm eyeing. So going to the daily chart right now, you can see that we've had this whole area over here where Bitcoin was trying to keep support, and we had found support, but now we're going to potentially come and test it again. And honestly, I think if we do get down below 10,000 again, it's going to look very dicey for Bitcoin, and we're likely going to see lower lows. That being said, we haven't broken this level yet. So for example, as a trader, I would not be interested in shorting this exact level. We are at a potential support here at this 10,400. You know, we have seen a lot of action in this area. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another small bounce. But the fact of the matter is that, you know, we did have this explosive move down in the beginning of September, and we've had another impulse move down, okay? Another candle, a red candle over here, which has just taken out quite a lot. You can see that it took out a almost 6%, yeah, 6% move down in 1 day. So it's not a good sign. And the reason why I talk about the $9,200 level is, well, first of all, it's the 200-day moving average over here, which is marked by this blue line. This is a line which a lot of investors and traders look at for potential support. And of course, we have a high liquidity zone over here. We spent a lot of time grinding this area. It would be very surprising to see Bitcoin just smash right through this in one fell swoop. It's very likely that we see some sort of support in this area if we come down to it. Now, before we get on to the macroeconomic news, the reasons why Bitcoin is likely falling and why I personally think that it is not likely to hold the $10,000 level in the short term, let's have a look at Ethereum. So let's start by looking at the weekly time frame. So I mentioned in a previous video how we were in no man's land, which was anywhere within this red box. I mentioned how this was previous resistance, previous support multiple times. It was a very important area, and it was unsure what would happen while we were in this box. But now that we are below it, we haven't closed yet on the weekly, but we have, of course, on the daily. Now that we're below it, it really doesn't look good for Ethereum, because this is the major contention level, and you really don't want to see us get below. So now that we are, the next level of support I see is the 786 retracement, which also correlates with the previous top at $286. So again, I'm personally in an Ethereum short right now. I've sold some of the Ethereum in my portfolio. Right now my portfolio is about 20% cash, 80% crypto. But in addition to that, I have these shorts which are protecting me from further losses. And of course, I have a stop limit on my shorts. So if we get above certain levels, I will be stopped out. I'm not going to be irresponsible. And if you guys are selling, just remember that, we are in a bull market, a weekly bull market on Bitcoin, on Ethereum. The fundamentals are looking very strong for both of them. We have this Ethereum 2.0, the next stage of this launch coming in November. We have all this money printing going on. There's a lot of reasons to be bullish on Bitcoin and Ethereum, with all this DeFi and everything going on. There's a lot of reasons to be bullish in the long term. But in the short term, I personally think that things are looking a bit bearish, and I'm personally protecting my portfolio against further losses. So if we now go down to the daily time frame, you can see that we had this red box I mentioned is the area of contention. Then we had this important level within this red box, which is this darker red box over here between the $375 and the $382 level. This marked previous support. We came here, we resisted, we did come just above, but we resisted immediately. This was not a good sign. This was the first bad sign. And the next bad sign was this next level of support, previous resistance, previous support, and we just smashed right through that very ugly red candle here with volume. So, I think it's possible that we get back up to the sort of 354, maybe we even get all the way to 364, but certainly I'm in a short now. On the lower time frames, I can show you exactly what I'm doing. I entered my shorts at the sort of $348 level, and I will stop those shorts out at 350, but I will be looking to re-enter as we approach these higher levels, the sort of $362 to $370 region. I think it is quite possible that we don't even get there, and again, that's why I'm in a short right now. You can see this red line over here has been a very important level. We resisted several times here, and then we found support several times, and now it's just more likely than not that if we get up there that we will resist again. Now Ethereum has been outperforming Bitcoin for the longest time over the past several months, but now this is also concerning. You see this blue box over here? This is marked by this area which Ethereum has come down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 basically times on the daily chart. So the more times you come and hit a certain level, the more the buyers get worn out, and the more likely it is to break. So we haven't broken this level yet on the ETH BTC chart, but if we do, the next level of support is quite a bit further down, so it's about 15% below. That marks a previous high and previous support over here at the 0.0285 level. So I'm definitely concerned about this. I was in a higher Ethereum position than I was in Bitcoin, but right now I have sold most of the Ethereum in my portfolio. I'm still holding on to some alts, but I've also sold a bunch of them to de-risk. And yeah, it sucks, when you have to sell. But this is just the way it is. And if you're looking at the markets, if you want to be smart, you want to take some calculated risks. I might be absolutely wrong, and we might, break through this and just go on and make new highs. But, the risk to reward right now, the way I see it, especially on the Ethereum short, looks pretty good. I mean, right now, for example, I'm stopping out at $351 approximately, I think, is my stop. And, I'm targeting 286. That's the first major target. We might even go lower, and that's already, a 6-to-1 risk to reward. I don't like to be shorting. It reminds me of when I first got into crypto. I was all about the fundamentals, and I saw people shorting. I'm like, why are you shorting? This is not good for crypto. But, this is just the way it is, guys. And it's better to be realistic and to, go with the ebbs and flows of the market than to just be, forever bullish and just always hoping that you'll be bullish. At some point, you need a correction. And the thing is, I think it'll present an amazing buying opportunity if we get down to 286, if we get down to 250, which is the next level that I'm eyeing. I'm going to be making probably some major longs. Again, it depends on the S&P 500, which we will look at in a minute. I thought this was relevant. I'm a little bit tired of all the amazing news of firms buying hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin and then the price is stagnant or declines. Now, of course, these firms who are doing this, they're doing this for the long term. It's just because they buy, it doesn't mean that, the market is going to go up. And there's a few reasons for why this might be. First of all, they do these over-the-counter trades, otherwise known as OTC trades. So these don't actually move the market. They buy from some people who want to sell a lot, but it's not on the exchanges, not on the spot exchanges. So this doesn't actually move the price. And then, of course, there's the mined coins. So, the miners who are mining these coins, this provides supply. They basically sell these coins, a lot of them. And, you need buyers to step in. So, you have these buyers stepping in. It might mean that the price stabilizes, but you need a lot of buyers to keep on buying all these coins which are being mined. And unfortunately, companies buying hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin, it just doesn't matter when you consider the fact that the macroeconomic markets are not looking very good for the short term. We have the S&P 500 here, which is the most important thing to be looking at when considering, what will happen next with Bitcoin. And it's largely based on this that I've entered my shorts. So as you can see, we had a high here at the $3,588 level. We came down quite swiftly to the 3,322. We grinded in this area a little bit, and now we've come down again. So this is basically a lower high, and a lower low. Officially a bear trend on the daily. Now, I'm not suggesting that we are going to come down and see another massive sell-up as we saw in the past, although it should be kept in mind that this is a possibility. But certainly it's quite possible and quite likely even that we have another move down to $3,100 level at the 200 moving average, the 200 daily moving average. As we will see in a minute, this is a very common level for investors and traders to look at. So now moving on to some of the macroeconomic news, the stock sell-off accelerates and is expected to get worse before it gets better, according to CNBC. A whole range of analysts here are giving their opinion about why it might go lower. The stock market was already technically vulnerable to further selling when new concerns about the coronavirus and Washington infighting triggered a fresh sell-off. So here they talk about how Europe is starting to see sharp increase in COVID cases and that there may very well be new lockdowns in Europe. And of course, this is never good for the economy. Another factor is the political uncertainty following the death of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsberg, with Republicans moving to replace her immediately and Democrats pushing for a delay until after the inauguration in January. This has intensified an already contentious divide, increases election uncertainties, and makes it less likely Congress will be working together on a stimulus package to support the economy. So, of course, the stimulus package was another big reason for why Bitcoin might pump. And again, what I see as the most likely scenario right now is that the market sees further downside. Bitcoin probably gets to 9,000, Ethereum probably gets to 285, maybe even 250. And then, at some point they announce this stimulus package and we see, a very strong recovery. And so I think it'll present a very interesting buying opportunity if we get down to there. If you're not into shorting, it could be a very interesting buying opportunity when the stimulus package is launched. But then, of course, you still have these election uncertainties. So technical analysts say the market has seen a breakdown that could take the S&P 500 to its 200-day moving average at 3,104 or even lower. So again, this blue line marks that 200 moving average. As you can see right now, it's at the 3,105 level. Now, what's scary is that this would represent a 5% dump. And a 5% dump, of course, would be magnified by Bitcoin. We would likely see anywhere between a 10 and a 15% dump if that happens. And a 10% dump, of course, would take us to 9,300. 15, well, again, this is sort of a little bit more bearish. I think it's very likely that we find some sort of support in this area. But, it's very possible that we come down to the 8,800. Similar to how we went down to the 10,000. We spiked below it several times down to 9,800. The market likes to do this to sort of scare these buyers out, to stop them out. So it's very possible that, although people are eyeing the sort of 9,000, 9,200, that we get a few spikes down to 8.8. And then this would align well with the S&P coming down to the 200-day moving average. And then we have this article by Forbes.com. They say that market sentiment took a hit after both the US and Europe saw a resurgence in coronavirus cases over the weekend. So if you're curious about coronavirus cases, you can go to this site. This is worldometers.info. There'll be a link in the description. And as you can see, we do have steadily increasing daily new cases. There's really no sign of this slowing down. And you can even use this 7-day moving average to see that we are above this moving average. And so, you know, it is certainly concerning. And if you look at this chart, sort of one of the biggest increases we saw was back here in March. And of course, you know, that's when we had this big sell-off. So it's a bit scary. You know, if we see another second wave, you know, it is unfortunately possible that we see another sort of somewhat exponential move going up and then another, you know, big sell-off. At this point, you know, it's hard to say, but certainly we are in this upwards trend with no signs of slowing down. Fears that a second wave of coronavirus could lead to further government restrictions and lockdowns caused shares of companies that would benefit from a reopening of the economy, including airlines, cruise operators, and retailers, to plunge on Monday. And then I don't know if you guys knew, but yesterday there was this news that broke that over $2 trillion of transactions by banks were basically flagged as money laundering. So of course the bank stocks widely plummeted, led by shares of Deutsche Bank and JP Morgan Chase after this investigation. So as good as this is for Bitcoin long term, you know, to know that the traditional financial system is getting crushed, you know, in the short term, it's definitely not good. And this is sort of a paradox because it's like Bitcoin is here to solve all these problems. But, you know, in the short term, if everyone's panicking worldwide in the financial markets, there's no way that Bitcoin is just going to be bullish. This is very bullish long term. And again, as I've mentioned before, although we will see a bigger sell-off than the stock market, we are going to also see, in my opinion, a much bigger comeback, just in the way we did in March. So, you know, we might see a sell-off. Hell, guys, you know, I don't like to talk about this because, you know, it's scary, but you really have to be realistic about how bearish things can get so that you know what you're going to do when that time comes. Like, I don't think it's very likely that we get to $6,000, but I do have it in the back of my mind. Last night when I was falling asleep, I was like, you know, what am I going to do if we get down to 6,000? And the answer has been the same as it has been for the past few months, is that I'm going to buy a lot of Bitcoin. I'm going to long Bitcoin on margin. I'm definitely not going to sell. You know, I've already sold some of my Bitcoin and Ethereum. I will be buying back already at 9,000. You know, of course, I don't know what's going to happen. Well, if we do get down to 6,000, but let's say we get down to 6,000 in the next few days, we have some, you know, flash crash. I'm definitely going to be buying a lot. I'm not going to be panic selling. And you have to ask yourself, you know, what are you going to do? How is your portfolio going to look if we get down to this level? You can make some basic calculations. If it drops by, you know, 50%, you know, you're going to have X amount of money. You know, just prepare for it. It's kind of like stoicism. You know, stoicism is where you prepare for the worst. Every morning you think, you know, what is the worst thing that could happen today? And how am I going to deal with that if and when it happens? It's not a matter of it being likely. It's a matter of being prepared for the worst case scenario, all right? Now, finally, we're going to have a look at gold because this, of course, is highly correlated with Bitcoin. And right now we are at this level where we previously found strong resistance at 1,900. So we're potentially finding support. However, we've seen several cracks in this support already on the lower time frames. And the next major level of support, of course, is down here at the $1,800 level. So if we now zoom in over here, go to the daily time frame, you can see that we've been grinding this level many, many times. And now on this this previous day, you know, we had a close which came down all the way to 1,910. And this is quite bearish because we had many candle closes at 1,930. And now the fact that we've closed below that is just not a good sign. And again, I think it's more likely than not that this will come down and it will bring Bitcoin and you know, and of course the stock market will lead all of this most likely. But yeah, guys, so it's not much fun to talk about all this bearish stuff. But in some bullish news, of course, is that we have a giveaway. So all you have to do is like and retweet this. Follow Altcoin Buzz IO. This is how you can find us on Twitter, and reply with any fact or opinion about Uniswap protocol. And you guys will get 10 free uni, or at least you will have the chance to win 10 free uni. So go ahead and take advantage of that. Every week we have a new giveaway. And if you're interested in more free money, check out our comment on this video. It's been the same comment on the last few videos. Crypto and Bitcoin Visa debit card. You get $50 free on crypto.com. All you have to do is sign up for the Visa debit card using our code. And of course, if you trade $100 on Binance, you will get $10 completely for free. So there's at least some free money to be had. And yeah, I hope that you guys are prepared for the worst case scenario, but I hope you also don't lose sight of the fact that Bitcoin is here to revolutionize the financial system. And although things may be looking bearish short term, they are, in my opinion, very, very, very bullish long term. And I very much look forward to entering some buys, some large buys, either at the 9,000 or, hopefully it doesn't come down below that, but if it does, I'm also going to be looking at entering new buys and of course new long positions. And of course, I will let you guys know about my positions as and when I take them on this channel. So don't forget to subscribe and like for more updates. All right, guys, so that's been it from me for today. I wish you the best of luck with your trading and your portfolio. Try not to get too depressed about these market dumps, but also just stay level-headed and keep your chin up. All right, guys, have a good one. I'll see you later.